Derek Hough is an Emmy-winning dancer and choreographer who appeared this season in the Disney Family Singalong, Holidays with the Houghs, and World of Dance coming up soon. So first off, the Disney Singalong featured socially distanced performances, including you and Haley Erbert dancing to Be Our Guest. And there's a second installment on May 10th, a few days after we're recording this. So how did you come to be a part of these, and how did they come about?
Yeah, well, good friends of mine are, producing it, Nick and RJ, and they just called up and said, hey, like, we would love for you to perform at this Disney Sing-Along. My girlfriend and I, Haley, we've been watching a lot of Disney Plus, and, we're already in the Disney mode and inspired, and it just gave us an excuse to get creative, have some fun around the house, pull out some old, crazy costumes. But more importantly, just to stay creative and also to bring joy. We're entertainers. That's what we do. We're sort of in the service business to serve others, to bring some joy. And so it was a good opportunity to bring some joy, get some, be creative, have some fun, and also learn some new skills, because we edited all the videos ourselves. All of just everything. We basically did the lighting ourselves, we did the cameras, we did the editing, just everything, and then we just basically sent them the finished product. And so it was a lot of fun to make, a lot of fun to do. And the next one we're doing coming up, we try to outdo ourselves a little bit, so we have some fun things coming up. I mean, we try this new technique where, I said to her, 'cause it's Step in Time from Mary Poppins, and I was like, this song is so big and so active and just like so intense. It feels like it needs to have like 20 people in it, not just 2 people. And we thought, like, well, what if we could clone ourselves? What if we could have multiple people in here, like, of ourselves? And my girlfriend Haley, she's she's so tech savvy that she got on the computer, she typed it in, she learned how to do it within minutes, honestly. And we figured it out. It was really challenging, extremely challenging. We had a lot of trial and error, trying to make it happen and make it network worthy. And but we feel we're really proud of it. It came out really good and really fun, and it's cool. So we're pushing ourselves. We're learning new techniques. We're learning new skills. We're trying to be creative, but more importantly, we're just trying to entertain people. We're just trying to bring some joy.
And, I imagine the experience of choreographing a routine, which you've done in a number of different contexts, but doing it in like a sort of quarantine situation where you have a limited physical space, and like, how is that challenge different than your usual creative process?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is, not having, like you said, kind of not having the space. I mean, I'm fortunate we actually have, a good amount of space here, but there's some things where you want to go bigger and do more. But it's also the camera, because it's not just doing the choreography. It's because we don't have anybody videoing for us. Everything's on a tripod. Everything's like on a fixed angle. So we have to try to, keep the choreography, contained within a sort of frame. And that can be, challenging and limiting, but also the time frame. The first one we did for Be Our Guest, the Beauty and the Beast, we had to do that in like 2 days, and we had to just knock it out. So there was definitely some nights where I was up till 6 a.m., editing the video, it was definitely a challenge, but it was very rewarding, because it just kind of pushes you to sort of be like, okay, cool, we can't rely on anything else. We can't, other people. We just got to do this ourselves. And it was a lot of fun. It was challenging, but it was a lot of fun. And also too, like, for this next performance coming up, the Step in Time, there's this hand percussion bit I'm doing on a table, and I've never done that before, but I just saw somewhere a long time ago, and I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool for this. So it inspired me to practice and to learn and trial and error, trying to figure it out. And then I thought, well, it would be really cool to have 4 people in here, and those 4 people were doing something separate. So every time we recorded something with multiple people, each person you see is a separate performance. We're wearing different outfits. It's a separate performance, and we have to kind of paste it in there. Then they have to make sure that we're in sync, and then it's a whole process, but just trying to stay creative and create, you know.
And in that first performance, the Be Our Guest performance, you also brought in your sister Julianne Hough.
Yeah.
And there's this great moment where she's sort of between you, but on her own screen, but it's all really synced up really well. Like, how challenging was that to kind of, you know, put that in? Like, I imagine she did that before and you sort of timed it, or what was that?
Well, what we did actually, so what we did is you know, I sent instructions to Julianne via video. I said, okay, Jules, this is what we need you to do. I need you to learn this choreography. I need you to do it to this tempo. I need you to shoot it like, you know, at this sort of like this angle, this, you know, this framing. I need you to say this. We just basically sent her all this sort of instructions, and she did it. And when we got it back, there was a point when I was just kind of like, listen, the iPad thing doesn't really work. No, we had a different idea, actually. Sorry, we had a different idea about projecting her on a wall or something, you know, and we would be dancing side by side, but it didn't work because it was too light and just, you know, certain things. And I was just kind of going to give up on the idea. And my girlfriend was like, no, we have to do this. We have to do this. Like, and while I was editing, she's like, come here, and came in the room, and she had set up the iPad. She had cropped it so it kind of fit the whole frame. She angled it so there was no glare on it. And she said, and then we could dance side by side. I was like, babe, you're brilliant. And so the credits to her for that moment. And yeah, it turned out really great. And after we did it, I was like, thank you, babe, for seeing that idea through, because I was at a point where I was like, it's okay, it's good enough without it. We don't need it. And she's like, no, we can do this. So she stuck with it.
And the costumes for the routines, that's something that you had laying around, or did you had to get them from, you know, delivered, or like, what was that like?
Yeah, I joke around saying we just had them in our closet, but the truth is that all those, a lot of those come from Dancing with the Stars. You know, there's from Disney nights. So, you know, we had we were able to get those sent over, and you know, they were really great though. They were able to sort of desanitize everything and make sure everything was safe and really, you know, done properly. But yeah, we mixed and matched some of the stuff that we already had in our closet. But you know, the big ball gown and the big Prince outfit, you know, that wasn't just sitting in our closet. But yeah.
And one of the good things about dance is that, I mean, it's an art form that you can do at home. You know, it's you know, not like a theatrical performance where you have to kind of bring an audience in necessarily. Have you found yourself being creatively fulfilled with this, and just in general, even under these circumstances?
You know, it's interesting. During this time, you know, it's one of those moments where you think about just, first of all, you wake up with an immense amount of gratitude. Every day I wake up with just this immense, overwhelming feeling of gratitude for just everybody out there who are saving lives, who are risking their lives and serving others. And you know, I think about, you know, well, what can I do to serve and to help? And I've been, you know, aligning myself with different charities and raising money and different causes. And also, the other thing I'm kind of focusing on is just creating entertainment, creating some joy, you know, creating an escape, if you will, during this time. And so yeah, it's been one of those moments where for me, I'm a very active person anyways. I'm very like, you know, go. And this time has just made me feel very creative and very thankful to be able to have that, you know, space. I mean, my girlfriend and I have bonded a lot during this time. We've done some art projects, we've done arts and crafts, but we've also have danced a lot. You know, we've been creating a lot and learning new things, and yeah, you know, I think I've always encouraged people, and I've always said that, you know, motion equals emotion. The way you move directly affects the way you feel, and I say that so often, but it's just because I believe it so much. And it's, you know, right now when we can feel cooped up, we can feel sort of contained, that it's important to stay active, stay moving in some fashion, some way. And, you know, I think that's good for not just our physical health, but also our mental health. is to stay active, you know. So I have friends who are in New York who are, you know, in their apartments, who have turned their living rooms into, you know, dance floors or into little gyms, using what they can. And so so just staying active, staying moving, staying dancing, staying creative. I think that's the main thing really too, is just staying creative in some way.
And you know, the sing-alongs, of course, at home are so different from Holidays at the Hough, which is, you know, with the Houghs, which is this, you know, huge kind of variety special. Well, how is it working with Julianne on that one and putting that together?
It was great. You know, it was interesting. Julianne and I, we got really emotional. You know, we got really emotional when we walked into the stage for the first time. Because, you know, we see the film, you know, the cameramen and women and the audio and the lighting director and just all the people that were a part of it. We've known since we first started Dancing with the Stars. Like, I mean, was that 12, 13 years ago when we first came to LA to, you know, to be on the show. And here we are with our own special, our own show, with all the similar, you know, crew people that we've grown up with. We got incredibly emotional and just, again, so thankful to do what we love and to have the career that we've had, and that, you know, we're still going and we're still creating it was awesome. It was awesome, and we have a lot of fun together. We obviously have, you know, our little banter. But whenever we get together, we always have that sense of like, man, we're lucky. Like, this is so fortunate to be able to do something that you love with somebody that you love. You know, my girlfriend was like a, you know, producer on the show, and my good friend Sandra Chavez was a choreographer on there. You know, Ashley Edens, who's a producer friend of mine from Dancing with the Stars, she was producer on it. It was just so awesome to have to be sort of like, to create the show and just have an idea to pitch it, and then for it to walk in and see it actually be real was pretty exceptional. But I will say too, all that preparation, all that, you know, stuff, and then the very first move on the very first performance, the very first number we did that day, I like popped my hamstring, and I was like, we have to just keep going. There's no choice. So I just taped up my leg with duct tape and did the rest of the day. And unfortunately, you can't really tell that I injured myself. I can. I watch it back and I'm like, oh, I can see me wincing a little bit. I can see me holding back and not going full out there. But it was one of those moments where I was like, no. I'm not letting anything stop us from making this happen. There's no way. So got through it, and you know, it was really special.
There's literally nothing duct tape can't do, apparently.
Apparently. When I unraveled my leg at the end of the day, it was like purple because all the, you know, I did it so tight. but yeah.
And speaking of Sandra Chavez, she won the Emmy last fall for World of Dance. That was the first time World of Dance had been nominated at the Emmys, and it got 4 nominations for its choreography. You actually won one of your Emmys with her. What was it like seeing the show get that recognition, and her specifically for that?
Oh man, it was awesome. It was awesome. And you know, NBC, you know, World of Dance really is the best dancing on television. I mean, it is. It's just the best dancers there are, you know, around the world in different categories, in different genres of dance, and that's what makes it so special. And also, you can have groups, you can have duos, contemporary, hip hop, Latin, tap. I mean, everything. And it's funny actually, because to Sandra Chavez's group, Unity LA, they came second, and I just remember them being backstage, being, you know, I always say like I've come second a lot, you know, in the past. I've won a lot, but I've come 4th and 6th and 24th, and, you know, when I used to compete, and I have to say, coming second it hurts more than coming like 4th, because you feel like you're so close, and it was like within your grasp and you just missed it. So I remember going backstage and seeing her and her group and saying, and they were devastated, of course. And I just told them, I said, listen, and I looked at Sandra and I said, you might have not won this competition, but she's like, I told her, I said, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to win an Emmy for these performances because they're so good. They're so creative. They're so innovative and beautifully executed. And I remember telling her that. I was like, you're going to win an Emmy for these. They're just so good. And so when she did, and I was fortunate enough to announce her, I was so just happy for her because I know how hard she works, and her team and her group of dancers. So it was awesome. It was awesome. She's special. I love her.
Now, I've seen from the promos for World of Dance this season, there's going to be a bit of a twist with the judges sort of surprising the contestants in auditions. What was that like? And are there any other format changes or any other surprises anything you can talk about that's not completely secret under wraps that you can preview?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things is that the first couple of rounds are like this really cool warehouse where it's really stripped back, and the idea is you just have to stay ready. It's like we always would talk about on previous seasons, like, hey, just the fact that you made it to the big stage means that you've earned it and you've come a long way. But we never saw the part before that. We never saw the part before they made it to the stage. So this is about showing that process, showing the audition process, and also the fact that they don't know that we're going to be in there in that first audition, the first round. So a lot of the reactions when they come in, and then it's like, all right, dance, go. And they're like, wait, I didn't realize that, the judges are going to be here. So it just creates different moments that we've never had on the show before. Different dynamics, different emotions, different energies. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. The duels are going to be in the warehouse, but there's going to be like an audience, surrounding them, and it's going to have that sort of battle mentality. And what's really cool too is that they don't know. In the past, they've always either picked who they're going to duel against, or we've picked for them. But this time, they don't know who it's going to be until they walk in the room for the first time and meet. And it's crazy. It's so cool to see the reactions and to see the either the fear or the excitement, or it's just cool. It's just cool. It just makes for some different moments. And then eventually they make it to the big stage, which is like, it's awesome.
And it's always exciting when there's a ballroom act, because you yourself having that ballroom experience, you often get up on stage and sort of either demonstrate things for them, or like, is there more of that this season? Do you find yourself getting up out of your chair and joining them?
I mean, obviously I do it. I don't think I do it anymore than I've done in the past, but I definitely do it. I think it's hard not to. It's hard not to get up and dance and move around a little bit. Yeah, there's this couple. It's so sweet, and I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I kept poking them and being like, "Hey, are you just saying this? Is this a lie? Is this true?" But they apparently named their kid after me. And they named him Derek, so we called him Little Derek the whole time. And really cute little kid, like a cute little baby. And I don't know. They definitely kind of won me over with that. If I'm honest, I try not to be too biased. But they're also fantastic. They're sensational. They're a salsa couple that Karen and Ricardo for the previous season. They know each other. So yeah. But I definitely get up and move.
And yourself being a two-time Emmy winner, and you have a lot of material to potentially submit this year. What routines are you looking at as potential submissions this year?
One routine that from Holiday with the Houghs that was really cool, and really, again, just the logistical challenge is this rotating room. Where I'm dancing with a young boy, and I play the father, he's the son, and the idea behind the performance is basically like kids, being sort of on their technology, being on their phones, kind of missing the magic around them. And the idea is like, hey, like, look up, like the magic's around you, you know, and we start dancing on the walls and the ceilings, and it's just really interesting because that particular project takes a lot of trial and error, a lot of trying something, jumping off, looking at it and being like, okay, we can make that more interesting. We can make that look a little bit more trippy. A little bit more, you're just constantly like experimenting. But I think that one's really special. And also too about that has to be one take. That has to be like a one take wonder. There's no cutting. It just has to be perfectly timed with the rotating room. It has to be perfectly executed. And yeah, it is a challenge. It is a challenge to do that. So I'll never forget like the day we got through it all the way from beginning to the end, because there was a few times when we would do the performance, everything was timed right, we did the dancing correct, there's certain moves, and then I'm like the last 8 counts, like I got dizzy and I fell over or I went off balance. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, we were so close. So that was a challenge for sure. So I think I might be hopefully, submitting that, and some other performances from Holiday with the Houghs, which were so much fun to do and creative and just magical and whimsical. And honestly, it's actually interesting because these Disney Family Singalongs, it's interesting because the format that we're kind of shooting it is kind of made for like social media or like YouTube or something like that. But we're creating this content here for television. This is for television, and that was kind of my mentality as well when they asked us to do this. Was I wanted it to be television worthy. I wanted it to feel like a production, because that's what television is. It's like it's where you get the quality, that quality production. So I wanted to make sure we kind of lived up to that and pushed ourselves in creating and trying to be a little innovative with the way we would edit certain things and costume changes and the way we multiply ourselves and dance each section. I mean, it took a lot of hard work, a lot of trial and error. But yeah, just all in the spirit to be innovative and to create and to entertain.
Well, congratulations on everything that you've been working on this past season, and fingers crossed that everyone will get to create on a larger scale safely sometime in the near future. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks so much, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.